What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of None But Ourselves. Today, I have the pleasure to sit down with Captain Joel from Israel United in Christ. Thank you for sitting down today with me, brother. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having us on today.
Yeah, so if you want to just give a brief introduction, a little bit about your organization, and a little bit about how you came to be involved with the organization.
All right, sure. Shalom, everybody. My name is Captain Joel from Israel United in Christ. Like I said, we're a Bible-based organization which teaches that the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indian, the indigenous people of North America, Central, and South America, and the Israelites, or the people scattered throughout the diaspora, to whether it be to Africa, whether it be to the different places of Africa like Ghana, Sierra Leone, Liberia, West Africa, South Africa. There's a remnant of the Israelites living there. Even when the slave ships went to Europe, China, and India through the trans-Saharan slave trade, where all the slave ships went and where all our people are subjugated in oppressive states and being persecuted, is by divine design, because we are the biblical Israelites. We are the Jews according to the Bible. And Israel United in Christ is a Bible-based and a non-hate group. That's right. We are not a hate group. Neither do we incite violence, in which the media is trying to portray us as. We believe in the laws of God. And the laws of God says, thou shalt not kill. And that's what we believe in. For people to go outside of the laws of God, that's based upon them. So that's our belief system. We believe to teach the commandment. We believe to keep the commandments and teach the commandments in the faith of Christ, the Black Messiah. All right. So just to talk about how I came into the organization, or this, like I said, an organized nation. This organization is based upon, like I said, books, just for people to have a name, a title to it. But it's not an organization, in terms of a corporation, is the organized nation. With Israel, Blacks, Latino, Native American Indians, united in Christ. Christ is our king. He's our governor. He's our president. He's our leader. So he's our general. So we're the Israelites united in Christ. And the way I came into the organized nation is by, like I said, like everybody else, you come to a point in life where you start looking at things differently. You start questioning this reality. You start questioning your standpoint, your position in society, and start wondering, posing questions such as, why is it that my people, as great as we are, as creative as we are, as intelligent as we are, as inventive as we are we on the bottom of the totem pole? Why is it that we're suffering? Why is it that we were subjugated to about 400 years of oppression? Why is there mass police brutality or mass incarceration, high abortion rate, or high rate in disease? So these things started pointing me to search out for knowledge. So I started going back to the Christian church, Seventh-day Adventist church. I was born a Baptist, the religion of my oppressor. And I went to the Seventh-day Adventist church because I said, you know what, maybe there's truth in this. But I did not get the answers in which I was looking for, meaning it didn't tell me who I was. Every day before I go to sleep, I'll look in the mirror and says, who are you? Literally, I'll look in the mirror every day, not figuratively, but literally, and say, who are you? What's your purpose on this earth? Because I had no purpose. What do we do? Get up, wake up, drink, smoke blunts, have sex. That's our mentality. That was our purpose in life. That's how we were bred to think and live. Go to party, go to school, get an education, get a job, and then die. So I'm like, so what is the meaning of life? So I started searching. There has to be more than life than what the eye sees. So as I'm searching, things started opening up, to me. I had a brother, my barber, starting to spit some knowledge to me about, where the Israelites, the Bible is Bible prophecy about them going to the moon, about America going to the moon is Bible prophecy. That Latinos and Blacks and Native American Indians are the Israelites. We're in the Bible. This whole world is surrounded around the book. This whole world is documented in this book. This world or existence wouldn't come to fruition if it wasn't written. So I rejected a brother. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't care. I didn't want to hear that Israelites. I didn't want to hear that God's not for all people or God only chose one race of people because of my ideology in American philosophy of democracy. Democracy teaches that all nations under God, individual, liberty, and justice for all. But the Constitution didn't match my reality. So he kept on saying, no, brother, the Bible is our historical records. It's our book. It's our Constitution. It's our government. I said, no, God so loved the world. God's for everybody. Right. Then he said, if God so loved the world, God loves everybody. He said, why are you suffering more than everybody? I thought it was supposed to be if equality for all. Right. Why is the blacks always on the bottom and all the other nations on the top? Where's the equality in that?
Yeah, and I also think when at the beginning of your statement, when you said, there's a difference between understanding of the Bible and the Christianity as it's been taught to us here in the U.S. Because I think where a lot of people think about the Bible, they think about Christ, they think about just as the Bible speaks. And they assume that it's only meaning what they have been taught in the U.S., in the Americas, or in just the European world, that's what that Bible means. And I think that's an important distinction, because it's a lot of brothers that turn away from the teachings of Christianity because they say, oh, well, that was taught by the oppressor. But it's also, you also have to dig into, well, what exactly is being taught here, because just because that was taught to us, we don't need to throw out the whole Bible. We need to throw out that doctrine that it was written about people thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, and it has nothing to do with us. Because when I read the Bible now, I read it, but I read it with the understanding that this is talking about my people and me here today. This is not just talking about some random people thousands of years ago, with white Jesus and the white angels and everybody. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a biblical theology that's rooted in who we actually are.
Yes.
So that kind of
100% on point. 100% on point with that. You're right. You ever see the movie Birth of a Nation?
Yeah. Yup.
Remember, excellent movie with Nate Parker concerning Nat Turner. It is one point in the Bible when he says, my whole life I've been taught the Bible a certain way, but now I see the Bible with new eyes. New eyes, because if you don't mind me reading the scripture,
no problem, brother. Do your thing.
Build off of what you were just referencing. In terms of this whole time, people take the Bible and mistake it to be a religious book. In actuality, it's not a religious book. It was taught or reintroduced by our oppressor and whitewash. And a white interpretation was placed upon the book. And the book hasn't been altered. Our mind has been altered. You can alter the mind, and you can alter our mind to alter our perception of reality. Right. You can see something that you think is there, but it's actually not there. Right. You can believe something is real, but it's actually not real. It's called, when we watch movies, The Matrix. Yeah. Yeah. We see that, but what? It's not actually what
it's an illusion.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion. This whole thing that we're living is an illusion. And it's witchcraft. America has cast a spell upon the Israelites. Check this out. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 13. It says, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me. So we honor God with our mouths and lips. Everybody says they love God. Listen, the drug dealers say they love God. The killer says they love God. Everybody's going to say they love God. But it says, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. So our fear toward God, or our interpretation or understanding of God, was taught by the precept of men. What men taught us? The Bible.
The white man, the oppressor.
Exactly. And guess what? And Jesus Christ warned us about this man, not to accept this man's religion, but people don't read the Bible. They look at it, instead of saying, you know what, brother, can you show me where you're getting this information from? Listen, no. That's a white man's book. Listen, everything you believe in, worship, and celebrate is white man ideology. Listen, you say it's a white man's book, but you go to school and receive the white education.
Yup.
You have a white philosophy. Listen, if you vote, that's a white man's ideology.
Yup.
If you practice religion, Christianity, Mormonism, Baptist, whatever religion or you have accepted, you were taught you accept that from your oppressors. Check this out. This is what Christ said concerning, and a precept is taught by the in a sense, the understanding of me is taught by the precept of men. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. So the first thing Christ says, take heed, be alert, that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, say, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So many came in Christ's name saying he is Christ. Who's the many? You have when the European powers came in rulership, the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the French, the Dutch, the British, and America. They came in the name of Christianity. They came in the name of Christians. They said they're Christ. Christ means anointed ones. People today, the Christians today, when Christopher Columbus came over here, they say what? That I am Christian. I am Christ. They alter the image of what God looks like and Christ looks like.
And made it after themselves.
Yes. Yes. So the Bible is not a white man's book. The white man has placed his mind, his way of thinking in our minds. He whitewashed our mindset.
Yeah, and that's why I think that kind of rolls into the first question. What's the importance of having this information and knowing, being able to educate ourselves versus just taking the education that we've been handed? Because the education that's been given to us isn't something that is useful to actual liberation. What we've been given has been a mindset that will keep us in bondage. If we don't expand that mindset, if we don't expand our education, where we get our information from, how we look at the information that we're getting, if we don't look at that from a nation building perspective, then we're just going to continue bondage. There has to be a break in our mental mindset before we can move out physically.
You're right. Check this out. This is John chapter 8, verse 32. Because there has to be, like I said, within our education, we are in a mental bondage. We are in mental bondage. We're bound. And like I said, in the way America has kept us docile and subservient is by capturing our mind. If you could change somebody's mind, if you could capture their mind, you could bend them to whatever your will is. And it keep us on a bottom society to support their system. Like I said, the reason why America is the most powerful social economic system ever to exist is because they have the Israelites bound under their spell and under the education. All right. This is John chapter 8, verse 32. It says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So knowing the truth of who you are is going to make our people free. And what I mean for free, because we have a low self-esteem or inferiority complex. And with an inferiority complex and a low self-esteem creates self-hatred within the Black community, Black Latin community. And you look at the numbers, because of self-hatred and low inferiority complex, we have been subjugated to hate ourselves, and hating ourselves, we have begun to do harm to ourselves and one another. And that's why you look at Chicago, St. Louis, Newark, Philadelphia, Detroit, New York, wherever you go in the ghettos, you have the Black mentality, that self-hatred mentality, which, like I said, and that's why there's so much, the murder rate is so high amongst us. The divorce rate is so high amongst us. The gangbanging is so high amongst us. It's because of knowledge of self. If you don't know yourself, then they have a saying, if you don't know, let me get this real quick, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you don't know who you are, and then you don't know your history, then you're bound to repeat the same mistakes. Let's see. Proverbs 23, verse 7. It says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So As you think in your heart, in your mind, so are you. By miseducating us, like Malcolm always said, who taught you to hate yourself?
Yep.
They whitewashed our images. They taught us to hate ourselves, to hate our image. They took away our heritage, our nationality. So if you take away a person's heritage, the nationality, the images, then what else do we have left?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
And I think it starts, and I think it's important that as we're raising our children too, that we conscious of that. Like I was with, probably last year, I had my goddaughter with me and we were going to a church. But when I took her back for Sunday school and I was looking at their Sunday school curriculum, Jesus white, the angels white, all the disciples white, everybody that was supposed to represent purity and well-being was white. And I just said, I'm not sending my goddaughter to that. I'm not going to willingly give her that, because it starts from a young age. Your mind is being molded, whether we know it or not. Your mind is constantly being molded. So the images that were constantly displayed of whiteness and fairness is to be glorious, is to be holy, is to be close to God. And then you look at the flip side, we're always seeing darker, even if it's not just about our skin. It might just be generally darkness, foul, dirty, grimy. We're only displayed as thugs. We're only displayed as, in poverty. Everything about molding that mindset. I remember when I was in school, growing up in school, and being one of the only black kids in the school, I felt, by the time I was in high school, I felt ashamed of who I was, because all I was ever shown was being less than. It was all negative. I was never shown, you were your ancestors were the founders of society. Your ancestors are, you're a chosen people. You're chosen by God. You built this country. You built the world as we know it. I wasn't shown that. I was only shown slavery. I was only shown segregation. I was only shown things that would make me look at myself, like you said, with an inferiority complex, to say, why did God even make me like this? Like,
Exactly. 100% right. And guess what? And that's all of our people.
Yeah.
Our people are searching for something that's right in front of them, but because of there's so many traps, we can't really find our way, and we walk around with that inferiority complex. Why would God allow this? And it goes back to this. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. You heard this saying before, but it says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So that destruction, that mental destruction, that inferiority complex, that low self-esteem, that self-hatred, is that destruction within our community it has to do with a lack of knowledge, a lack of biblical education, which is our true education. Think about it. Just so it says, thou people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, meaning because we reject the knowledge of God. We don't want to keep God's commandments. We want to follow the traditions and philosophies of society. God says, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will forget thy children. And that's why our children are involved in gang banging, gang affiliation, black on black crime, mass incarceration. Because whereas God used to be amongst us, can we look at mighty men or prominent men in history, such as Daniel, a black man. King Solomon was a young man when he ruled. King David took out Goliath. King David, a black man. That's right. King David, if you walked around today, they'll call him an African-American.
Yep.
And the most, I'll say, revolutionary historical figure in to ever walk the earth, Jesus Christ.
A black man.
Think about it. Let me just read that real quick, because our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Image is everything. Will you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you said something heavy. You said I refuse to take my daughter to Sunday school where they're teaching white images or whitewash images.
I won't do it.
If you could expound more on that, I just want to see like your way of thinking. Why
Yeah, I would just because my way of thinking is, I know that now as an adult, I've had to untrain my mind to believe. As an adult, I had to untrain my mind in white superiority. And I'm thinking, why is my mind so twisted up like this? My mind was twisted up like that because everything that I was shown from the time I could understand what I was looking at, and even before them, was white Jesus, white God, white president, white CEO. Everybody was white, even from finances, from housing, from religion. Everything, every place of dominance was a white person. So even if it's just changing the imagery for her, I wouldn't want to put her in a position where I'm allowing the world to indoctrinate her, because I know that that's something that as an adult, I've had to untwist my mind.
Exactly.
I have to go back and learn about, Menelik, King Menelik from Ethiopia. I have to go learn about, the great African, emperors and philosophers and scientists and mathematicians, and go read about our history so that I can understand now as an adult that we're not inferior. We're not less than. We're not, a subspecies of people. So I'm trying to instill in the children that are, in my circle and are growing up around me, whether it be nieces, nephews, godchildren, instill that in them so that as they grow, they can understand that they not inferior. They not less.
100%. 100% on point. 100% on point. And like I said, and it's excellent that our people are starting to change their mentality.
Right.
So we're starting to grow in understanding and do a mass exodus, and not a literal exodus, but a spiritual exodus. Check this out. Revelation 1 verse 1, because imagery is everything. Imagery, like I said, when you see everything white, you start to hate yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, damn, that's why you have skin bleaching.
Right.
And like I said, and black people, we come in all different shades.
Right.
It's just from very dark to light skin. We come from all different shades.
Right.
But the problem is, on the one side, one skin color is loved above another skin color, not knowing that we're all beautiful.
So I try and just speak into it we all black. Black is beautiful. Black people come in all shades. Black people come in all shades. But it's also we got to preach against, without isolating people that are lighter or darker. We also have to preach against, where does that come from? Where does that mindset that the lighter is more attractive? Where does that come from? That comes from slavery. Yes. It comes from the transatlantic slave trade. It comes from, but even being light skinned, I know a lot of people, even some of my own family members, that they have been taught that because they're light skinned, that means that they're more beautiful. So they look down on darker people, not knowing that as America sits, that's where you fall anyway. It doesn't matter if you're mixed or not. You still are going to be treated with your people. You're still going to be judged with your people. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Listen, you're going to get hung right beside me.
Right. It doesn't matter.
They call you a N, and they'll call you a light skin. They'll call me a dark skin. Whatever. It's the same people.
Right.
Same blood. Same royal line.
Yeah.
So check this out. It's the book of Revelation, and this is going to break, like I said, that inferiority complex, or that that self-hatred, and that's why you have the bleaching of the skin. That's why you have a lot of our sisters perm their hair, destroy their hair.
Come on, talk about it.
Blonde their hair.
Talk about it.
So they're blonding their hair, they're perming their hair, they're destroying their skin pigmentation, and we have a lot of celebrities that are doing it. You have, I love our people, but they have to come out of that white or that white supremacy type of mindset, or the Eurocentric way of thinking. You have your Nicki Minaj, you have your Beyonces, you have your You name it. All, just our brothers and sisters altering their image of beauty, not knowing that the Creator looked like them.
Right.
This is Revelation 1 verse 1. This is the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him. So I'm going to jump to verse 11. So this is the revealing of Jesus Christ. Verse 11, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, unto the Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. So Christ is saying to John, what you see of me, John, write it in a book. Why did Christ tell John to document his perception, his image in a book? Remember, in Matthew 24, he says, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So knowing the prophecy prophetically that you have European nations or the colonial powers that will rise up, alter the image of Christ, recreate him, and replace him with Caesar Borgia to be the new image or representation of Christ on this earth, he says, I have to leave a depiction of who I am. So when my servants rise back up, as they revive back into power, they will let the whole world know who I am and what I look like.
Come on now.
Verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool.
Like lamb's wool.
Come on now.
Like
most people on this earth have woolly hair. Come on now, talk to me. Listen, when you look at the Old English Dictionary, wool hair is the hair of Negroes. You call it today kinky. You call it coarse. You call it nappy. Yes, that same hair that you perm, the same hair that you use lye on, that same hair that you dye.
That was Jesus's hair.
That's Christ's hair. The same hair that you were taught to hate. Who taught you that? Did the Messiah say to hate your hair? No. Christ wore his fro.
Yup. Come on now.
Why do you think black people in the 60s and 70s, in the height of black power, or the height of black love, why do you think they wore their fro?
Yup.
Because why? In the height of black love, in the height of black power, you're a direct representation of your maker. That's the closest of black power you get. The closer to yourself and self-love you get, the closer you get to the image of your maker.
Yep. And I think, like you were saying, it's without I go through this in my own relationship, you know, without alienating our sisters, but really speaking that into them, like, you don't have to straighten your hair. You don't have to put that weave on. No, you do not need to. And I try and I feel like for a lot of you know, especially conscious brothers, we try and say it in a way that's not demeaning, you know what I mean? Or being cause a lot of people just come out, oh, I won't date a girl unless she has her natural hair out. I understand why our women have been led to think that way. I understand why, because they've been told since the time they was a child that your hair is ugly. But now we got to break out of that. Now now that we know the truth, it's no reason to be walking around with anything else.
Nope.
Because I've heard too, just the fact that your hair is kinky and coily. Our hair is a conducting of electricity. If the physicality of it, the actual DNA in the way our genes are shaped for a hair to be able to link up and curl up, this is where your center of knowledge is. It's receiving the electricity from the world that's directly impacting what's going on up here. So we trying to do everything to not look like what we have been made to be.
Yeah, hey, and check it out. You said it's, you know, that adds, and it does affect your mental state, your hair. A lot of our sisters wear fake hair and they wear hyenas hair. Well, a lot of the hairs are offered up to gods and different gods. You wonder why they're going crazy. Because they got animals hair on them.
And you know what's wild? I read a study too. I don't have the site, so I don't want to specifically cite it. But the chemicals that are in some of the hair products that are given to our women to use are specifically there's chemicals in them that no other culture is getting. They're only coming to our women because of the products and because of, like you said, the animal hair that's on your head. That's not, your crown was not designed to be covered up by the hair of an animal or by, chemicals that are put in to try and straighten it out or burn it out. That's not what your hair was made for. Your hair is divine.
Exactly. So check this out. So it says, verse 14, it says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And while now people might say his eyes was a flame of fire, yes, Christ drank wine. He didn't drink it to get drunk, but he drank wine in moderation. And that's why the whites of his eyes were red. They called him a wine bibber and a glutton. But the church would say, oh, Christ didn't drink wine. He drank Welch's grape juice. No, listen, the prophets got down. The scripture says wine maketh the heart merry. Right. But we drank in moderation. We didn't drink to get drunk.
Right.
We got drunk. We drank to feel good.
Right.
Just to feel nice, a little nice.
Right.
So Christ drank wine in moderation. That's why the whites of his eyes were red. And it says, verse 15, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So you look at the brass, the color brass, it's a derivative of brown. And it says, as if it burned in a furnace. Anything burns in a furnace, what color does it turn?
Turns dark.
Dark. Christ was a black man according to the Bible.
According to the Bible. And I think that's, what's wild too. If you speak to a lot of white preachers, they'll tell you that the Bible is all, revelation, that doesn't mean that. It means it's a lot of prophecy. It's a lot of, future knowledge. When you speak to a lot of preachers, they'll tell you everything. They'll twist what the Bible actually says to make it mean something that it doesn't, to make it not apply to us.
To fit their agenda.
Their agenda.
Their agenda was placed in their mind. And now,
I gotta read this.
Yes,
I gotta read this little passage now because you want to pull the Bible out? Let's pull the Bible out. I gotta read. Are you okay on time?
Yeah, listen, I got nothing but time.
Okay, cool. This is
our profession as black men.
Yes, sir.
We are knowledge seekers and we are knowledge givers.
Yes, sir. So this is John 8. When I read this passage with new vision, this really changed the way that I looked at Jesus and the way that I looked at the people who have given religion to us as far as from an oppressive standpoint. And this is in John 8. It says, hold on, let me figure out where am I going to start. Okay, I got you. To the Jews who have believed him, Jesus.
Verse.
This is John 8:31.
Okay.
To the Jews who have believed him, Jesus said, if you hold my teachings, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free, where you were. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say then you will be set free? Jesus replied, very truly, I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now, a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So if the son sets you free, then you will be free indeed. I know that you are Abraham's descendants, yet you are looking for a way to kill me because you have no room for my word. I am telling you what I have seen in the Father's presence, and you are doing what you have heard from your father. Abraham is our father, they answered. If you were Abraham's children, Jesus said, then you would do what Abraham did. As it is, you are looking for a way to kill me, a man who has told you the truth, and told you the truth I heard from God. Abraham did not do such things. You are doing the work of your own father. We are not illegitimate children, they protested. The only father we have is God himself. Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I have come from God. I have not come of my own. God sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I have to say. You belong to your father, the devil, and want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Yet because I tell you the truth, you do not believe in me. Can any of you prove me guilty of sin if I am telling the truth? Why don't you believe me? Whoever belongs to God hears what God says. The reason you do not hear is that you do not belong to God. And when I read that encounter, it just showed me, even in Jesus's day, the people who were, the Pharisees, the people who were the teachers of the law, who were teaching an oppressive religion, he told them straight up, y'all are not even who you think you are. You think that you're following God, you're following the devil. So I always bring that up now when I'm in conversations about religion with people who are, I guess you would call it like European Christianity, because you think that what you're following is come from God, but you're not following our heritage. You're not following our history, what we're supposed to have. You're following something that's come from the exact opposite place. If you're following something that makes you look at yourself like you're less than, if you're following something that is supporting your oppressor, if you're following something that's making you look at your blackness as being ugly versus beautiful, then you're not following the teachings of Jesus. You're following the opposite. You're following Satan.
You're right. You're 100%. And check this out. I'm going to go a little bit further in them. They're not following Satan, and they are following Satan, but their God is their oppressor. I'll say it again. And this is what I mean by the God is their oppressor, because we just read the depiction and image of Jesus Christ, right? And our people look at him and they say, this is the image of Christ. And they teach the doctrines that they learn from their oppressor. So you ask yourself a question. Jesus Christ, in your perception of Christ, is white from what you've been taught. In addition, you were reclassified, re-identified, come out of the transatlantic slave trade. You were called African American. You were called West Indian American, Western slave. You were called Haitian American. You were called Latino. You were called Hispanic. You were called African. All these European titles that were given to us through slavery. So not only did they alter the image of God and Christ and the image of what they looked like, but they also changed our nationality. They also gave us God. Remember, God gave us a nationality. He says you're the Israelites. Israel means the prince of the power of God. We're descendants of Jacob. So being a descendant of Jacob, our last name would normally be what? Israel. Because that's our forefather in which we come from. So the European power says, not only am I going to change the image of God to represent me, I'm going to also change your nationality, but I'm going to give you my last name.
Right.
Along with my last name, I'm going to give you your customs, your traditions, your Christmas, your Thanksgivings, your New Year's Day. All these are European pagan holidays. I'm going to educate you. So everything, I'm going to give you politics. So your whole existence is based and surrounded around me. So people do not worship God. They worship their oppressor. The oppressor is their God. And the Bible says that. This is Romans 1 verse 25. It says, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. So God is saying, who changed the truth into a lie? Who made your heritage into a lie? Who told you you're African American? Who told you that nobody? Who told you to worship or celebrate these oppressive holidays? Thanksgiving, the destruction of the Native American Indians. The pagan holiday of Nimrod. New Year's. The worship of the god Janus, the god of new beginning. Mother's Day, the worship of the god Ashtoreth. Father's Day, the worship of the god Nimrod. Sunday worship, the worship of the god Ra, the sun god. So, not knowingly, we think that we're worshiping God and partaking in these customs with our name, our last names, and even going to church. But the Bible says, who changed the truth of God into a lie? Who changed this Bible and altered the understanding of the Bible for you to say that the Bible is a white man book? Who did that? Who changed Christ into a white man? Is it hard? Did the Chinese change it? No. Did the Arabs change it? No. One people changed it. It says, and worship and serve the creature more than the creator. So show that our people are worshiping and serving their oppressor.
Who is a created being. Worshiping and serving the creation versus the creator.
Yes, so you're serving, you're worshiping the created. God created them. We serve his creation. But historically, that was done by force. And the Bible is a historical as well as a prophetic book. And that happened, like I said, during the conquest of Christopher Columbus, when they forced that European or white image upon our ancestors. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. Now, the preachers and the pastors will say, oh, nobody can open up the understanding of Revelation. Don't read that. Listen, we have the understanding. It's been opened up to us because why? We keep God's commandments.
Right.
So this is the book of Revelation chapter 13. I'll start at verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So who's this talking about? This is talking about the rise of Rome back in power again, coming back as the European powers or America. So it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. That's talking about the Manhattan Project, where you have Albert Einstein created the atom bomb. They have fire to come down from heaven, meaning they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's how they cause fire to come down from heaven. The explosion or the atom bomb that killed the Japanese during the First World War. It says, verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So it says that they should make an image to the beast. The Bible is calling this person a beast. And that they will make an image to this beast who have been wounded by a sword and did live. The wound by a sword was the Roman Empire. They were wounded by Septimius Severus, which was a black gladiator or a black Roman general. He was a gladiator that he gained power and became a Roman general, a black man, and he put his boys in rulership of power, and they overthrew the Roman Empire. And that's when we ran Rome or the Caucasians into the Caucasus Mountains of Russia.
Right.
That's when they lived in a caves for 1,000 years, and during the Dark Ages is what
called that their Ice Age.
Yes, that's their Ice Age.
That's their Ice Age. That's not our Ice Age.
There's no such thing as an Ice Age.
Right.
Hey, why do you think they call it the Dark Age? Because dark people ruled. King Arthur, King James, King Arthur. You have Vlad. All the Mozart, Beethoven, all black men.
Yup.
So it says, verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. So now we're going into history when you have Pope Alexander VI. He was the Pope during that time period. He had power. He had economical power, and he was the Pope during the time. The Pope has the highest authority. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Pope Alexander VI had hired Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo to paint the image. His son, Caesar Borgia, the image of Christ. That the image of the beast shall both speak and should cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And guess what? If we did not worship the white image or the whitewashed image of Christ, guess what happened? We were killed. We were forced to worship that image. That image, all that slavery, Christianity, the white image of Christ was forced on our ancestors.
Forced upon us. Yep.
Yep.
And I think when we don't understand that the Bible is speaking to us, then it's easy to not have context to our lives of what's going on. But when we understand that what we're living through and what our ancestors have brought us through to this time, we're living in the story of God's will right now. We're in the middle of this story. This is not something that's so far off and it's unreachable and it's unattainable. This is something that's going on right now.
Yep.
Next, what I wanted to go into, this idea of, we got certain black leaders or black conscious people online or what have you. Some people say, you got to vote. You got to get out and vote. If you're not voting, you're not, exercising your right to try and make change. And then other people that say, when you vote, you're just voting in a system that wants to destroy you anyway. So voting is a waste of time. We just lived through an election where, black people came out in record numbers to vote for a man who is a proven racist. To vote for a man who's, a proven segregationist, to vote for a man who, sat next to the first black president, but didn't do anything for black people, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But what would you say, what would your stance be on this? Are you more of a vote or more of a don't vote?
So now, check this out. So do we vote? Do we vote? Do we vote? Listen. As you stated before, listen, the people, Biden, Democrat or Republican, they're the two heads of the same snake.
Same snake, yep.
Same snake. The only difference between the Republicans and Democrats is the Democrats is more crafty.
Yeah.
Biden, if people don't realize, under Biden as a senator in California in the 1990s, when Bill Clinton was the president, you have something was called the 3-strike law.
And you're out. Yep.
Which mass incarcerated the vast majority of black Americans and which led the black family in the conditions that it is in today.
Yep.
So our people are involved in a high level of mass incarceration because of the policies and laws put in place. Check this out. Listen, should we vote? Should we vote? Should we vote? This is, you're voted. When you vote, you're voting to keep your people in the same conditions. Whether it be Biden or Kamala Harris. You're voted and make an agreement with your conditions. This is what God said. Isaiah 28, verse 15. Isaiah 28, verse 15. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death. By you voting, you're making an agreement and a covenant with death. You're saying that I'm going to vote you in to further destroy my people. I'm going to vote you in to further mass incarcerate my people. I'm going to vote Kamala Harris in as the vice president to further prosecute more black men and throw away the keys.
Which is what she did, which is historically, and that's what always got me, because I feel like when you have a people so undereducated as ours, we have this tendency to take things at face value. Oh, that's a black woman. We got to vote her in.
And she's not even, she's an East Indian, or her father
doesn't even identify with her blackness. But just to stand up and say, oh, she's a black woman, we got to vote for her. Well, why? What's the behind the scenes? What's her record? What's she actually going to do?
Exactly. So people saying you believe in God, but you're voting. You're voting for, you're voting for massive vaccines. You're voting for the virus, for these politicians to push the virus. And listen, you're voting And you fought for this country, supported this country so much. But when it comes for your time of trouble and your time of need, the same people that you put your trust in, they don't support you.
They don't care.
Know that what? They shut down this country.
Right.
Shut it down. Yep. And the people that are affected are the working class, are the blacks, Latinos.
And the small business owners. As a small business owner myself, most of my contracts that I had for my small business was with churches and with schools. Mm-hmm. Those were the two biggest areas that I work, because I do marketing and graphic design. The two biggest clientele that I had was churches and schools. So when you shut everything down, you shutting down my business.
Exactly.
But Walmart is still open. So for the people who are saying, oh, we got to shut down for the health of the country or whatever. Well, Walmart is still open. I can still go to ShopRite. Yep. I can still go to Target. It's just my business that got shut down.
Yep. Because they know. And guess what? The wealthy got wealthier and the poor got poorer.
Yep.
So it's a plot. So that's why when you vote, it says, because you have said, we have made a covenant with death. You're making a covenant with your own death. You're voting for these politicians. You're supporting them. You're putting them in office, but yet they can't help you out. Your business, they can't give you an extension of the PPL loan.
Right.
They can't give you a stimulus to help stimulate you. They can't pass the unemployment. They're playing political games, and you're caught up in the political arena. And it says, and with hell are we at agreement. You're at agreement with hell. You're at hell. Another word for hell is a condition. When the Bible talks about hell, it's not talking about
talk about it. Talk about it.
Listen, that's Greek mythology. That's Christianity. When you die, you don't go to a red man with a pitchfork. I mean, when it says in hell are you agreement with, hell is a condition, meaning hell is captivity.
Right. That's where we at right now.
We are in hell.
Right. We already are here. Right.
Mass incarceration is hell.
Right.
Vaccines being forced upon us and to poison us is hell.
Right.
Police brutality is hell.
It's hell.
Slavery is hell. High abortion rate is hell. Black on black crime is hell. All this is, and people don't realize it. You're going to the church talking about, oh, I'm gonna pray, and so when I die, I don't go to hell. You're already in hell.
But you living in hell right now, and I think it's so important. Just like back to what we said at the beginning, to expand your knowledge and expand the way you think about things, because God wouldn't give you a religion that is contrary to your intellect. God wouldn't give you a religion that would dumb you down and make you say, don't ask questions or you're going to end up in hell. That's not something that because we're made in the image of God. So if we want that knowledge,
He'll give it to you.
He'll give it to you. Ask and you shall receive. So if you're wondering, because when I started to expand my mind, that was the scariest thing to me, as I think it is a lot of people. When you break from that, Europeanized sense of religion, when you finally break from that white Jesus and realize that you've been worshiping the created and not the creator, it was so deeply built into our minds that if you don't worship white people, you're going to go to hell. You're going to burn in hell for all eternity. So it's like but once you break that, then you start to see the world like, wow, they set this stuff up wild.
They did an excellent job.
Yeah, they set this up crazy.
Crazy. And you will never see it.
Yep.
You will never see it. So it says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. So by our people making agreement with America's politics, they're thinking that they're going to escape judgment. Not knowing that you voting these people into power is furthering your destruction and judgment. Not knowing that who's behind these people.
Right.
People, listen, what you're going to realize, everything's by divine design.
Everything.
That's was set up over you, black man.
Yup.
This white man in power, he was put in power
for a reason. Yup.
By who? By God. You know why? Because you're rebellious people.
Yup.
I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you rebellious people. You're voting for a power that God put to punish you.
Yup. Yup, just like the Israelites, just like the children of Israel in Egypt. That's
thing.
why I always say when I talk about, nationalism, black nationalism, a lot of people think you preaching hate. It's not that we preaching hate, it's the fact that we have to leave what God has put in place to oppress us. God has given us a lifeline out to come back to him, but we have to take that lifeline.
Exactly.
We have to remove ourselves from, me personally, I want to move back to Africa, but I don't think it's much about the physical relocation as it is the mental relocation in coming back to God and coming back to the knowledge of self. Because when you think about the children of Egypt or the children of Israel in Egypt, you got a people who for 400 years have been twisted up. For 400 years, they don't know who they are. All they know is what they've been taught by their oppressor. They don't know about their culture, their religion.
And that's why Moses had to reteach them.
That's why Moses had to go back and reteach them.
You said something heavy. The children of Israel in Egypt for about how long?
400 years.
How long are we here for?
16, 19, 400 years. Come on, brother, you know.
The same people living the same life all over again.
Yup.
Same people. So we believe you're voted in a system that was set up against us.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the Bible says. Lamentations 4 verse 17. Not realizing you weren't brought to America to vote. You were brought to America for equality.
Yup.
You were brought to America to be punished.
Right.
For your sins.
Right.
This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. So verse 17 says, as for us, meaning as for the Israelites, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. Meaning our eyes had yet filled for vain help. You have black people that was looking at the presidency, the president election, saying, I hope Biden wins, I hope Biden wins, singing songs of freedom.
Right.
And the blacks and Latinos in the streets parading, saying Biden won, Biden won, Biden won. And they say that they're free, and the next day you get shot down the street. The next day you pay your bills. The next day you're still dying. The next day, you vote, whether you vote or you don't vote, the hood will remain the hood.
Yup.
Black people's conditions will remain black people's conditions.
Yup.
No president could fix black people's conditions but black people.
Right. Right. And I think we're always looking for a reason to not have to take responsibility for ourselves. We're always looking for a reason to not have to do the hard work, because when somebody says, oh, all right, come on, we gotta get our communities right. Our communities are in poverty. We gotta get ourselves right. You know what? No more Air Jordans. We don't want to hear that. No more Air Jordans. No. Listen, no more Xbox. Put the Xbox down. It's time to nation build. We don't want to hear that.
We don't hear that. No more weed. No more this. No more. Listen, we're selfish people.
Yeah.
We rather somebody else fix our problems rather than we fix. Think about it. The Chinese, do they vote?
No.
They got Chinatown.
Right.
When you look on those lines, do you see Chinese on that line really?
Right.
You don't see them.
No.
And guess what? They have Chinatown all over. And in Chinatown, they got their own banks.
Yup.
Their own movie theaters, their own schools.
Right.
Their own restaurants.
Yup. And their dollar circulates with themselves. They don't go out and spend their dollar elsewhere. Like, people in my family think I'm crazy because, like, if I know a black business, if I can get this from a black person, I'm not going to you. And, like, especially the Chinese, I'm not going to your businesses to spend my dollar, because that needs to stay within our own community. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's about the economics. It's about the nation building. You got China as an entity, as a country, funding a new colonization of Africa right now, giving these extremely high loans to Ghana, extremely high interest rate loans to Nigeria, trying to put our people back in economic bondage to China. So what do I look like getting my toes and nails done from a Chinese person down the street? It doesn't even make sense to me. Even in our own neighborhood, neighborhoods, y'all, when do you ever see, when would you see Chinatown with a soul food restaurant right in the middle of Chinatown, and they all buying their soul food from black people? You would never see that. But in every one of our hoods, you see a Chinese store on the corner where we all go for our late night food.
Yep, 100%.
To feed us garbage.
And it's garbage. It's not
garbage.
Food.
Right, not even food. Right.
So, let me take the 4 verse 17 says, "For as for us, our eyes as yet filled for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that cannot save us." So it's God saying, you're watching a television station, you're watching a presidency, you're watching for a nation that cannot save you. You cannot expect a nation that's enslaved you
to free you.
A nation that's going to save you.
Right.
You cannot expect a nation that which built the American government or the churches, the Constitution, that built the Supreme Court on the blood of the North American Indian, on the blood of the Latin Indian, on the blood of the so-called black slave, African slaves, or the Israelite slaves. You cannot expect their children to say, you know what we did was bad. Let's give them liberty. Let's give them freedom. Let's give them equal rights. When we built this country.
Yeah. And I think that where people get so caught up and where young black brothers and sisters get caught up is we see this new white man that says, oh, I'm an ally, and I'm all about the black struggle, and I'm all about equality. We got to have this multiculturalist, and we get sucked into what I always say to that is, well, in the 60s, we had allies too. So the same people that was telling my parents that they was an ally is the same man telling me I can't get a mortgage right now, or I can't get a job right now. So we gotta break away from that idea of, let's just forgive them. Their parents did some messed up stuff, but we just gotta forgive them and all move on as one. No, we can't do that.
We're not doing that. They stood when their parents lynched and burned us. They were the children in the postcards watching, smiling.
Come on now.
And now they are teachers. Yep. They're your judges. They're judges of the Supreme Court. They're your presidents. They're your lawyers. They're your doctors. And they're your bankers. The same people. Now. Check this out. You said something heavy that, you have these people trying to, I think you said something like, we have people now, the children of these people trying to appeal to us.
Right.
Try to, appeal to us and win us over like they're one and the same, that our struggle is their struggle, that they're fighting for us. That's called liberalism. Or liberals or Democrats.
Right.
Look what the Bible says about these people. Isaiah chapter 32, verse 5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the church said to be bountiful. So the Bible says the vile person shall no more be called liberal. The Bible's calling them vile because even though they say they're liberals, meaning the political philosophy that are Democrats, Democratic Party, whether they say individual rights, civil liberties, civil rights, equality, the Bible says they're vile, meaning they're wicked. They have an ulterior agenda behind them.
Which they do. Which they do. You look at, Planned Parenthood. You look at what's marketed to Black America as being, it's our freedom. Abortion is a right. It's a freedom. We have to protect Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood was funded by the KKK. Planned Parenthood was started by Margaret Sanger, a notorious racist. So we even the things that are being marketed to us by this liberal agenda are just as destructive as what's being told by the other side. Like you said, it's two sides of the same snake.
And as heavy said, even though they claim to be liberal and for Black rights or civil rights or equality for Black people, that's why you have that Marxist movement or the Black Lives Matter movements, as even they portray themselves to be for Black people or Black lives, but it's a liberal agenda which was funded by George Soros.
Yup.
infiltrated, and now you see Black Lives Matter was used as a Trojan horse to get gay rights.
Yup. Come on, talk about it.
Trojan horse to get into the Supreme Court to pass gay rights laws to bring America to the Sodom agenda. So verse 6, it says, verse 5 says, for the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the church shall be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity. So they're going to speak villainy, and their heart is going to work iniquity. So they're appealing to the masses on one hand, but behind closed doors, they said, you know what? We're going to put laws in place and policies in place that's going to further impoverish them. That's going to further lock them up. That's going to further separate them.
Yup. And I think it's, once again, we can't take it at face value. Everybody that says, you know, we here, we down for the cause.
Ain't for the cause.
They not for the cause. They're not for the cause. We got to start to dig deeper.
Our forefathers did not play that.
Yep.
When it came to nation building, you have Ezra, a black man according to the Bible. I mean, Zerubbabel. This was Zerubbabel said, a black man. When the other nations tried to come into our agenda and tried to help our community, this was Zerubbabel said. This is Ezra chapter 4, verse 3. But Zerubbabel, let's verse 2. Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded a temple unto the Lord God of Israel. So the adversaries, the other nations, the enemies, heard that we were trying to rebuild our temple, trying to reconstruct our nation again. So the other nations heard this. This is what they did. Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you. Let us help. We're part of the agenda. Let's establish businesses within your community. Let's build schools. Let's fund your projects. Let's put, you know what? Let's build a projects in the black community. Let's build high-rise buildings. Oh, you know what? Let's give you welfare checks. Let's give you food stamps. You know what? Let's give black business, let's give black business owners loans to put fast food businesses in the black communities only. Let's do that. Let's, you know what? We understand that you can't take care of your children. Let's put abortion clinics in your community. We understand that you're trying to build your nation up. Let's help you. So it says, let us build with you, for we seek your God as you do. And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Asharadan, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither. Verse 3. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, you have nothing to do with us to build an house to our God. But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel. So,
where is that again? What was that? Where was that again?
This is Ezra chapter 4, verse 3. First, Ezra chapter 4, verse 1 to 3. So showing you that our fathers did not, just like Malcolm said when in the Malcolm X movie, he says, what can I do to help your agenda?
Nothing.
Nothing you can do.
Absolutely nothing.
We don't need you. We have the intellect. We got the knowledge. We got this. So there was a plot behind it. Their plot was to destroy the building of the temple.
Absolutely. And you can't, anytime you're taking money from somebody, anytime you're taking a handout from somebody, it's always something behind it. People don't just give, especially when you're dealing with white people. Especially when you're dealing with white people. You don't just, they don't just give, no. You know what I mean? But it's not even just white people for the sake of white people. It's white people that it's that oppressive nature. Yes. It's that oppressive nature that I'm giving to you. I'm going to give you something that's really just the crumbs of what I have anyway. Crumbs of what I have anyway, but I'm going to use that to try and hold sway over you.
Exactly. And like I said, so that's why, like I said, the Bible doesn't command and instruct us to vote, because not knowing God put these people over us. This real quick, Deuteronomy 28. verse 15. Deuteronomy 28 is the most powerful chapter in the Bible. And when I say that, the reason being is Black history only exists because Bible prophecy. Black history would not exist if Bible prophecy was not written. Your whole existence, the history lessons that you received in school on a Black Power movement or slavery is an extension of Deuteronomy 28 in exact detail, word for word, defines who we are. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So Moses is speaking to the Israelites after we were delivered out of Egypt. And he's saying that it's going to come to pass. Anything that comes to pass is a future prophetic event that's going to occur. It's not in the present. It's going to come to pass.
Right.
If we would not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and statute which I command thee this day. So not realizing when we came out of Egypt, God gave us laws, statutes, and commandments. Not knowing that the whole purpose of the laws, statutes, commandments, it defines who we are. Real quick, I'm going to get Sirach 17, verse 11, to show you what is the purpose of our laws, statutes, and commandments. The book of Sirach, chapter 17, verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. So the laws of God is our heritage. It defines who we are. It makes up who we are as a people. The Bible is not a religious book, but it's our constitution. How to govern our nation. People don't realize that. America was built off of the judicial laws, the judicial system. What is the root word of judicial?
Judge.
Where it comes from? Judah.
Judah. Ooh.
Judicial.
Ooh.
Judicial. Judah. The laws of Judah. America they took our laws, our constitution. The Bible is our constitution. The Bible's our government. So God gave us laws, statutes, and commandments. So when we came out of Egypt, he says, you have to, that's not who you are.
Right.
You're not supposed to dress like them. You have your own dress attire. You have your own clothing apparel.
Right.
You're not supposed to eat what they eat. You have your own dietary law.
Right.
You're not supposed to conduct the way they conduct themselves. You have your own way that you're supposed to conduct yourself. You're not supposed to celebrate their holidays. You have your own holidays. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to deal with women the way they do. You have a way that you're supposed to deal with your women.
Right. A way to live. A way to it's a whole lifestyle.
Yes.
Like you said, retrain. It was really like when you read the way Moses dealt with the Israelites, it was like training up children.
Exactly.
Training all over again how to live.
Over again. And guess what? The same thing's going to happen when America's destroyed and Christ delivers us. And we're going back into the same wilderness. And guess who's going to retrain us? Christ this time. This time, Christ is. So it says, and that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake us. So in the future, if we did not listen to God's laws or do his commandments, all these curses will come upon the Israelites and overtake us as a whole. So I made a statement, a profound statement, that the political system, America's system that we invest in, that we look towards to, was set up to oppress us, was not set up to benefit us. We were not brought to America to receive civil or equal liberties. We were brought here to serve out our sentence. Now, verse 48 is going to show you why, how. Verse 48, I'll start with verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So the curses of God will be upon us for a sign. Meaning, just like a sign, you want to know where your street location is? You look at the sign. Right. So by looking at the curses in the conditions of our people, you'll be able to pinpoint and identify, wait a minute, these curses correlate with our history and our condition. So it will identify and reclassify you as the people of the book based upon the curses. It said, it shall be upon thy seed forever. Verse 47, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart and for the abundance of all things, because we don't want to keep the commandments, and a joyfulness and gladness of heart and abundance of all things, meaning because the world was created for the Israelites.
Right.
And everything in the world was created for us from the beginning. Verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. So God says, because you don't want to serve me, now you're going to serve your enemies, which I sent against you. I sent the French. I sent the Dutch, the Portuguese. I sent the British, the Germans. I sent America against you.
Right.
In hunger, for food you have to serve your enemies. And in thirst, and water you have to serve your enemies. We don't own, in hunger, we don't own any major food produce. We don't own the ShopRites. We don't own the farms to distribute foods to our people. We got to go to the enemies, the other nations. And in thirst, meaning we don't control we don't own the major water reservoir.
Right.
We don't. Guess what? If you don't pay your water bill, they shut it off.
They shut you off, right?
In Flint, Michigan, they pay their bills, but they still get them poisoned.
They still poison them.
You got to serve your enemy for water, for dirty water. And nakedness, meaning for your clothing, you got to serve your enemy. We don't own the raw textiles to create the clothing. We own the companies, but we don't own the raw textiles.
Right.
And in want of all things, everything that you want, they used to get from God, food, clothing, water, everything, money, everything that God used to supply us with. Now you got to go to your enemy for a driver's license, for marriage certificates, for education. If you want to learn about God, you got to go to the enemy. Guess what? If you want equal rights, you want liberty, you want something in society, you got to go to the enemies. The one that
petition the enemy for it.
Yeah. So God says you got to go to your enemy in one of all things. And he is the enemy, shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. What people historically had yokes of iron upon them? What do you think that's talking about?
That's talking about us.
Slavery. We have the yokes of iron upon our necks until we were destroyed. Now, let me ask you a question. How did we come to the side of the world?
Slave ships. Not that's how we came through the transatlantic slave trade. We was here before then. We was definitely here before then, but yeah.
The Northern Kingdom was here, but that's a different topic.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as through the transatlantic slave trade, we was here, we came in chains. Check
this out. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. So one of the curses God is saying, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again. Wait a minute. We just came out of Egypt.
Wow.
So why is he saying he's going to bring us into Egypt again?
Wow.
Egypt is synonymous to something. Exodus 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So Egypt is synonymous to
bondage.
Slavery. Just like in Egypt, we served for approximately 400 years. It's just like America. It's a new ancient
400 years. Yep.
We served approximately for about 400 years or more. So verse 68, it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again, meaning slavery again, with ships. With ships. So this slavery, you go into Egypt, slavery with ships. What does that sound like? The transatlantic slave trade.
Slave trade, yep.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. We would no longer see our homeland, which is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is our motherland, which is located in Northeast Africa.
Yep.
I'll say it again.
Yep.
Jerusalem is our homeland, our motherland, located in Northeast Africa.
Yep.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. So God's saying, once you get off those slave ships, you're going to be sold unto your enemies for a slave man and slave woman. and no man shall redeem you. So why would I vote for an oppressor that God set up over me to punish me?
Right.
Wouldn't I go to the source?
Right.
That placed me in these conditions? And wouldn't I appeal to the source? I'm not going to go to the oppressor, which was set up to oppress me for my error, for my sins. I'm going to go to the source and find out what is it that I've done wrong.
Right. Yep. And I think it's that, and I think it's really just that change of mindset to where we're not going to rely anymore on the people who've been put in position to oppress. We got to break that mental bondage. That's why the podcast called "None But Ourselves" from the Marcus Garvey quote. Mm-hmm. We can free our minds. None but ourselves can free our minds. It's a mental. Before we have any physical action, it's going to start with the mind. It's going to start with the knowledge of ourselves. It's going to start with the knowledge of who we are, what we are worth, our value, and just being able to say, we're not going to rely on anybody else. We're going to rely on ourselves. We're going to rely on God. We're going to make that first step, just like they say in the church. You know, if you take a step towards God, God takes 2 steps towards you. Mm-hmm. If we just open ourselves and we just say, we're going to make that effort as a nation, we're going to make that effort. Mm-hmm. And I think it starts with just, I appreciate you coming on. I think it starts with just strong men, strong male leadership. We're going to take control of our families. We're going to take control of ourselves. We're going to take control. And I just feel like sweeping through not just Black America, but the Black world right now, this sense of nation building.
Yes, sir.
And I really truly feel that this time, this 400 years of bondage, I really truly feel that it's coming to an end. And I don't know if we're going to see it in our lifetime.
I pray. Let's hope we do.
I pray that we'll see it I really do. But I know, I feel in my spirit that it's coming to an end, and the world is really changing right now. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about that politics, because I always say, don't get caught up and fall with what God has brought his. People think I'm crazy when I say stuff like this, but God has brought his judgment against America. Don't yoke yourself to what God is bringing his judgment against, because even white people can't get along right now. The government of America is at war with itself right now. It's falling right now. Like, it's in the middle of falling. So I'm not going to yoke myself to a country that's falling right now.
And that's heavy. You said what the Bible said. This is Revelation 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities." So, like you just said, why would you attach yourself to a country that's going to fall and be destroyed by God? So, and our people have to repent. They have to return back into the Bible as the Israelites and keep God's laws, because what's keeping the destruction of America and what's keeping us in our conditions is us.
Yeah.
There's no other people keeping it but us. We are, the Most High is going to move when we move.
Right.
When 1/3 of our people are sealed with this knowledge and 144,000 leaders are sealed, then the end comes. Then World War III will occur, and Christ will make his appearance with the mighty angels with their chariots, what you call UFOs. That's right. They're going to invade this earth. The angels of God with Christ. And they're going to make war. But the Third World War, that's it. We're going home after that.